This is going to be the most metal brew day I've ever had. So it's been a few months now since I've brewed anything that's not been a pale ale, and so I thought I'd go for something darker, but I still wanted to have lots of hops in it. So I decided to go for the quite poorly named Black IPA, as it is a black Indian pale ale. But, you know, brewing terminology, I don't care for it myself. So recently I was actually inspired by Eddie Munson's most metal ever performance in Stranger Things to actually start playing the electric guitar again. Before I went to university, I was absolutely amazing at guitar, without bragging. I'm useless at it now, but I was really good back in the day. But the moment I went to university, I pretty much gave up guitar. I was much more prioritized with my studies, student radio, and probably playing way too much Halo Reach. So that's right, when this video comes out, the Eddie Munson meme is already dead. I'm filming this and the meme's dead, but I'm still brewing a beer inspired by him. Well, I brewed a beer inspired by him. You know, this is in the future right now and the beer is brewed. That's how brewing works. So I was an absolute massive metalhead when I was a kid. I am gutted that I stopped playing, but I'm now playing again and I'm absolutely loving it. I'm starting to try and learn the songs that I used to play as a kid, which means loads of Metallica, Trivium, Avenged Sevenfold. So yeah, this beer is inspired by metal and also the most metal of things, which is recycling, because I'm also in this recipe using up a load of my grains that really desperately need to be used. I've been doing this for a while now, where I've been trying to use up a load of ingredients. I've almost used my whole inventory. So this beer's recipe isn't the most typical Black IPA recipe, but I'm actually really happy with the beer at the end. If you're enjoying this video, then please do like and subscribe to the channel, and let me know below. Have you ever made a Black IPA, and would you even call it one, or would you call it a hoppy porter or something else? Some people would argue that a Black IPA is actually just a hoppy porter, but to be honest, the naming conventions for beers these days are so twisted, considering that there's so much variety, so much experimentation, that I don't really care what you call the beer. I just need to stick something in the thumbnail of this video. I suppose it is quite metal to have a Frankenstein recipe, you know, a bit of this, bit of that, throw it all together, see what happens. So yeah, I'm really actually pleased with what I came up with here. So if you want to make this exact same beer, you may consider tweaking bits of it. So this beer's actually got the most varied grain bill that I've ever had for one of my beers, which is quite exciting. So this beer contains 4.2 kilograms of Europils, 600 grams of Maris Otter. You could choose just one of those two base malts and stick with them if you were making this yourself. I just had that little bit of Maris Otter which I needed to use up. I put 200 grams of Caramalt in, 200 grams of Chocolate Malt. I would have really liked to have had way more Chocolate Malt in this recipe, but that's all I had left. I also used 200 grams of Roasted Barley. Normally you'd just see that in stouts, but because I had actually ran out of Carafer Special Free, which is normally put into Black IPAs, I needed something else that was going to boost the blackness of the beer as we're making a Black IPA. I thought, why not throw in some roasted barley, as I'm not making any stouts anytime soon. I added 150 grams of melanoidin. I used 150 grams of melanoidin. I used 150 grams of melanoidin. Oh my God. Even when I try, I can't do it. Melanoidin, all right? I used 150 grams of whatever this word is. That'll increase the maltiness of the beer. Europils is quite a neutral kind of base malt. I'm increasing the actual malt taste here by adding in that malt. To be honest, if you were just using Maris Otter in this recipe, you probably wouldn't need to use the melanoidin. Did I say it properly there? I also threw in 100 grams of Rye Malt. That's meant to really help boost citrusy hops, which I have got some of in this recipe. Again, it was another malt that I'm trying to use up, so I chucked it in there and hoped for the best. So here I obviously had a lot of malts, but I was really hoping that it wouldn't end up overpowering the hops, that I still would have a nice hop flavor. which is why I ended up using quite a few hops in this. I almost always do 30-minute boils these days. One of the big reasons is because most of the time that's all you need. Also because now we're in a cost of living crisis, I'm really conscious of how much gas I use when I'm brewing. I brew less these days because of it. And yeah, brew for 30 minutes when I do brew, because I really don't want to go into debt. My hop selection here may not be typical of a black IPA, but again, I'm trying to use up a lot of ingredients here. So my first hop addition at 30 minutes was 26 grams of Chinook, along with 10 grams of Willamette. I've had this pack of Willamette for a while and I've not used it. It's meant to be a bit like Fugal, but has like a more of a spicy note compared to it. So interested to give that a go and see what it tastes like. My second hop addition was 40 grams of Willamette at 15 minutes in. Next, I added 45 grams of Galaxy 10 minutes before the end of the boil. So at the end of the boil, I did a hop stand with 40 grams of Mosaic and 70 grams of Willamette. So I was really going to get those peppery notes from the Willamette and plenty of that kind of tropical citrusiness from the Mosaic. The final hop addition was a dry hop of 60 grams of Mosaic. I did the exact same water treatment I've done the last few times I've made pale ales, as it gives really hoppy results. For me, this required just the addition of table salt and Epsom salt, but for you, it could be completely different. This time round, I was using a lot of dark grains, so using lactic acid, I only slightly lowered my pH to around 6 before beginning the mash. Dark grains tend to lower the pH more than light grains. I tested the water during the mash and it was dead on 5.6, which was really good because that's around the range I was after. Annoyingly, this time round, I forgot to pop some water into a separate pot so that I could use it to pour over my grain bag later and maximize my efficiency. I mashed my grains for an hour, and after that I didn't bother to mash out. I've tried it a couple of times recently. I've really not noticed any big difference if I do or don't do it. I could be wrong, but that's what I did. So I then drained my grain bag and gave it a squeeze to try and get out all of the sugars. This would have been the point that I would have poured some hot water over it, but I didn't have any water set aside at the right pH. In hindsight, maybe I should have just altered the pH with some tap water and then poured that over, so it would have been quite close to being correct, but I forgot to do that. I didn't do that. 15 minutes before the end of the boil, I added my copper cooling coil, so to sanitize it, and 10 minutes before the end of the boil, I added my Irish moss and yeast nutrient. The Irish moss helps clear the beer and the yeast nutrient helps kick off a healthy fermentation. So at the end of the boil, I added my final hops and then started a 15-minute hop stand. Whilst that was going on, I also prepared my dry hop. I use this fab technique where you use a muslin bag, put your dry hops into that, and then a neodymium magnet, which you then have inside the bag. You then have a magnet on top of your fermenter so that they both attach nicely, and then you can release the dry hop later on. Next time round, I'm gonna add some sanitized marbles to the bag as well, so to weigh it down, as that helps increase the hop utilization, because my bag was just floating around at the top, so I didn't get all of the lovely oils from the dry hop, which I could have got if I just added some marbles. I went for Lutricovite yeast on this brew day. It's my new favorite yeast. It works very quickly and has a much more neutral flavor compared to Voss, which has a bit more of a farmhousey feel to it. Lutra's great because it can be used in such a huge variety of beers. 2 days into the fermentation and 5 days before bottling, I released the dry hop. I'd normally do this during High Krausen, but I was actually away for a couple of days and I missed High Krausen. So this means that I didn't get biotransformation with this dry hop, but I still got a really nice dry hop. It's been a few days and now it's time to pour one of these beers. Now, what I haven't said to you yet is that I actually tried a brand new technique with these beers where I actually put some of the beer into a mini keg. I've never done this before and I've only just recently got the mini kegs, so I'm really hoping that this is going to be delicious and a bit different. I'm gonna open it here for you. This is the first time I've ever opened one of my mini kegs, so I'm absolutely terrified that I'm gonna accidentally wreck my brand new camera, so it's going to be in the distance to make absolute sure that I don't do a huge splash and ruin this camera before I even have my wedding, which was the original reason that we brought this thing. So first things first, we release this gas. I think that's a good sound. Pull this out. Right, moment of truth. There we go. Homemade kegged beer. It's got a very different head. Huh, can't wait to drink some. Brewing with a keg's really new to me, but it's actually really easy and it saves so much time. The only thing to consider is that you obviously need to drink all of the beer within a few days rather than having lots of bottles which you can drink whenever you need to. So that is something to consider if you're going to start using mini kegs. I think they hold around 8.5 pints. Now, because this is meant to be my most metal ever video, I thought I'd try and keep the metal theme going. And whilst tasting this beer for the first time, I thought I would do a very metal thing and play the game Doom Eternal whilst trying to discuss this beer. We're gonna play Horde mode. It's the first time I've ever tried filming myself whilst playing a game, so this could go terribly wrong. I'm probably going to lose concentration of either the tasting or the playing of the game. Let's play some Doom and let's talk about some Black IPA, shall we? Right, here we go. This round is beginning. So before the demons turn up, let's give this a quick squeak. Squeak? Squeak. I'm stressed. Right. Right. Wow. Okay. Really quite smooth, actually. Smooth for something that's quite dark. I was expecting it to be maybe, I don't know, a bit harsher to drink. This is, I honestly can't concentrate on either thing. How is this a good idea, Daryl? Why are you even trying this? What I should have done was play this in easy mode to make it look like I'm really good at it. I'm getting really hot and stressed at this. This is going so badly. Who's this guy? Let's pause this for a second and let's just get back to what this video is actually meant to be about. Gosh, considering how much roasted malt went into this and how many dark malts went into it, it's actually incredibly smooth. And you're getting a really big hop hit, actually. I'm really impressed with how hoppy this is. Nowhere near as harsh as I was expecting it to be, but it's had a little while to smooth out, I suppose. It's been a couple of months since I bottled this now. Now, let's try and discuss it more, but with me doing some good Doom action, eh? I've moved the camera a bit to see if this will work out a bit better now. Can you tell that I'm trying desperately to make my videos where I just sit and talk about how delicious a beer is or isn't, and trying to spice it up with other stuff going on, and that's why I'm playing Doom. But I have actually just made the process really hard for myself. So right, let's go again. Let's drink more of this beer. Let's at least finish the pint whilst trying to play Doom. A game I've barely played. I'm not even particularly good at it. I don't know why I chose this game. Well, I do, because it's so metal. Let's have another swig of this for courage. Right. Okay. All right, let's get this, get a bit of armor. Oh, I think I've just got to kill this guy, and I think I've actually beaten this round, so that's all right. Come on, all right. Let's be having you. Okay. Bounty Demons. Don't care. I really like how the kegging feels like it's really made it pop. The carbonation is definitely different. Oh, this guy's angry. There's two of them. A bit like a hoppy Guinness, really, it feels like. That's probably because of the roasted barley in this. Oh, I need to get in. Have a bit of that. So maybe the flaked barley is what's made me think that it tastes a bit Guinnessy, but like a really hoppy Guinness. The Willamette, I don't really detect much pepperiness to it. Let me just have another sip and look for the pepperiness whilst I'm trying to run away from some demon. Oh gosh. Right. Just leave me for a second. Just a second, let me put down the beer. No! Right. Detecting pepperiness. Yeah. Yeah, there is more in the aftertaste, I have to say. But there is a bit of a pepperiness to the beer, but much more like that citrus kind of note that you'd hope to get from Mosaic. I really am surprised at how dominant actually the flavour of the Mosaic is. I suppose it was the dry hop. Yeah, so I think you can detect a bit of pepperiness from the Willamette, but I have to say that the Mosaic is dominant here. I really do like this beer actually. I've almost finished it now, I'm about to get absolutely ruined by a load of demons. I haven't got enough hands. I need like a tube just directly going into my mouth here. I think part of the reason why it doesn't feel, oh God, I don't even, I've never, what's happening? Oh my God. All right, get this guy. Get some ammo. What was it even on? No! So maybe trying to play this game whilst trying to drink this beer was a really bad idea. I'm finding this stupidly hard to do. I have to say, the hop aroma is not really there. It's not a strong hop smell. Not super malt forward as I was thinking that it could end up being. I might have put a lot of malts into this, but I didn't put huge amounts of the darker malts into it, just enough to give it this lovely black appearance. I would say there's a tiny bit of a red tinge to it that roasted barley can give. You know, that's why Guinness is technically red and not black, although I mean, it is black, but it's technically red apparently. So all in all, I think that was the most metal beer that I've ever made. This is certainly the most metal video I've ever done. I put a lot of work into this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. It would mean a lot if you could subscribe to the channel and like this video. Home brewing is so difficult to film. I'm planning on doing a video about how difficult it is to film and how difficult it is to keep the videos interesting. But if you're enjoying this and like the changes that I've recently made to my channel, then I'd really appreciate if you like, subscribe, comment, and yeah, just thank you for watching and getting this far and sitting through me attempting to play Doom. Thank you, I mean it. I've almost been doing this a year now and I've been loving it. I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers, and if you've watched any of my videos and haven't subscribed, then it would actually help me hugely if you were to subscribe following this video. If you've got this far, don't stop watching now. I'm going to play Master of Puppets until I get part of the song wrong. So keep watching. Right, let's try it. Oh, I've already got something wrong. Right, bye. Thank you for continuing to watch this video. I'm now going to do another go at Master of Puppets. This is the real final try. If I get anything wrong, as I say, I'm off. Right, come on, let's boost the length of this video, baby!